Hello and welcome to the Redvee TV show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season. Oh, I'm on my own. It looks like Dave's gone away there, and if I'm not mistaken, that is Hale Beach just outside Widnes. Just pan round to the left, you'll see the lighthouse there. Unless the satellite link can come back in. As if by magic.
Kevin, as the saying goes, when the fun stops, stop. But we carry on regardless.
Yeah, true.
I'm just waiting for one wag to pop up in the comments and say, in that case, why didn't we stop in April?
Yeah, just after Good Friday. Who's called it a day?
But we plough on regardless because there is still plenty for us to be discussing over the next few weeks. Plenty for us to do. So we'll get straight into it, Kevin. And they do say, despite it being the season end, it's not an airport.
You don't have to announce your departure.
Because Saints will do it for you.
Very good.
God,
Very slick.
we're smooth, Kevin. It's like this is the first take. Um, 7 players announced as departing by the club prior to the end of season awards. There were plenty that we knew about. Obviously, Tommy Makinson, Lewis Dodd going, Sione Matautia, Sam Royal, Mackenzie Buckley, Ben Lane, and Wonga Blake. Before we talk about any of the others, Kevin, I think we'll start with Wonga Blake. And we won't dedicate more than a minute to him, which was about the length of his highlights video with him falling over the line that the club buried in the middle of Mackenzie and Ben Lane's highlights. Suffice to say, terrible signing. And for me, and I think I've said this previously, only Paul Davidson stands out to me as a worst player in a St. Helens Rugby League jersey that I have ever seen.
Yeah, as far as signing goals, I think that people will look at. I mean, Josh Perry's a name that's always bandied about. You will always have people mentioning the likes of Gravy Ann. You'll always have people mentioning the likes of. Keep on thinking of Radney Bowker. Don't know why Bowker keeps popping into my head. When I mean Daryl Trindle. There's been some bad ones. I think one of the things that I just want to say is um, I saw comments on social media which I thought was I actually laughed at it when he said, "Will the Saints board apologise for wasting Saints money now on Blake?" And you know when you think, no, they're not going. Why are they going to apologise for that? Seriously, take a minute to think why, when the club's making a loss, so the money's being stood up, that the club could just say fans don't pay for his wages, fans pay for X, Y, and Z, we pay for them, so we're not going to apologise for wasting our own money. It made me giggle. It made me giggle.
Whoever approved the signing might apologise to the higher ups.
Yes, yeah, true.
Listen, it's a gamble, isn't it? And I think for Wonga Blake, you get a Sione Matautia, you get a Curtis Sironen, who comes over here either towards the end of their NRL career or looking to rebuild, and is a fantastic player. Unfortunately, this time we got a dud on the field. Maybe not a dud in the town centre, but a dud on the field.
It just
Um,
didn't work, did it? Just didn't
no.
work.
Sam Royal, um, we've discussed him previously in that he's not necessarily had the opportunity to play in a full strength Saints side. It's always been through injuries that he's got his chance, or um, with the reserve lads when we've basically rested everyone. He's captained Saints through the ages. Not many of us are ever going to be able to say that. I'm definitely not going to be able to say that, not anytime soon. But a great clubman. And obviously, if at the moment he's not got a club uh, sorted for 2025. We believe he's considering his future at this moment. But somebody I think we should all wish the best to.
Yeah, I like the fact you said not in the immediate future or something about you captaining Saints, but yeah, expected it to happen in the next 10 years, 15 maybe.
Listen, I played for Everton, Kevin.
Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, you know what? With Sam, you're right.
Yeah, I
I
really
feel
have.
like he's never had the opportunity to have like to start a game with Alex Walmsley and Matty Lees as his starting props, with like James Roby or Darrell Clark as his nine, with Curtis Siren and the other second row Morgan Knowles at loose, Mark Percival or Connie next to him. He's never been afforded that luxury. Now, whether that's what I feel anyway. It just seems like he's always been brought in when we've been down to the bare bones. That's obviously up to the coaching staff who they pick, but everything you hear out the club points to Sam being an absolutely wonderful professional. Everything that you hear from, and we do obviously speak to the odd person in the club, but everything they say just points at him being someone who's ready to put himself forward for an interview if needed, someone who is ultra professional, is really, really just a proper team player. He's also been a leader through the years, as you say, up to the first team. That is a measure of the bloke as well. And you're right, while he's not quite made it at Saints and he's leaving now, he's someone that can go with his head held high. And as he said at the awards ceremony, he's quite happy that he got over for a try, so he didn't leave the club without having scored for the first team as well. He just all round sees like a good fella, and you're right. Wish him all the best for the future.
Yeah, a degree in biomechanics from the University of Liverpool. It wouldn't surprise me, Kev, if he started looking long-term future with that sort of degree. He's going to earn a hefty packet out in the real world.
Yes, you'd have thought so. Seems properly switched on, clever lad. Someone who is probably he's welcome back at Saints anytime you'd imagine. And you can almost see him being the type of player who might come back in for don't know, maybe like in the lounges or something, and just speak to him because he seems like he's got that ability to be able to converse. He's not someone who's just giving you one and two word answers. He seems like someone who is well, he's obviously intelligent, but he can back that up with having a bit of a personality as well.
Do you know what? He'd be a good guest for Redvee.
He certainly would be a good guest for
There you
Redvee.
go. Sam, if you're watching or any of the family are watching, we would have you on any time as a guest and chat about your time at the club. I'm touting for guests now. That's how bad we are. It's the off season, isn't it?
You
Um,
know what? I'm just gonna add his name to the bottom of the list of people of questions that I've got to start writing for people just in case he comes on.
Here's one then, Kev. If Sam was potentially the cleverest at the club, who now takes that mantle? I'd say Alex Walmsley's got a degree in quantity surveying, but isn't that just counting bricks?
You can tell him that next time you see him.
I'm
Um,
gonna have the army of chartered quantity surveyors knocking on my front door, telling me how
well,
many bricks my house is, and put them all through the window.
we'll we'll be able to answer that question when we ask the couple of players that we have
Johnny
got lined
Vaughan
up,
could be a
who is
candidate.
now the cleverest person at the club.
Johnny Vaughan, law degree on the horizon. If it
Yes,
carries
certainly
on.
come. Yeah, good
Um,
shout.
who else? Who else looks clever in our team? No, I'm struggling after that.
Again, I'll let you tell him that.
Um, two youngsters who didn't quite make it: Ben Lane, Mackenzie Buckley. Obviously, you get one or two every year who there are hopes for. They get a squad number, but for whatever reason, they don't quite break through. Um, and these are two, I'm afraid, who've just been slightly overtaken.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's exactly it. When we've been talking about wingers for most of the season and who can be out on that left wing, and Ben Lane's played wing for the first team. I know he's a one or a six, I think, at his usual positions. But sometimes you just got to find a way into the first team and then slot into your position. He's been overtaken, and he's nowhere near really the conversation that, with wing, or he hasn't been all season. Despite him having a bit of pace, despite him being able to play fullback and having obviously a little bit of creativity about him, with him being a half as well. It, he's got a long way to go, or he did have a long way to go to obviously push Jack Wellsby out of the team. But we've had openings out on them wings that he could have been someone to take that chance. Whether he's been injured, whether he's just been out of form, I'm not sure. I know he's spent a bit of time at North Wales towards the end of the season as well. Kicked quite a few goals for them, scored a couple of tries, but it's just not worked out for him. Same with Mackenzie, sorry, he seemed like a good line runner, but he's been overtaken. Like Noah Stevens, who plays prop, has overtaken him. Johnny Vaughan, second row, overtaking him. Leon Cowan, back row as well. Probably anywhere in the pack, Leon. It's just what happens sometimes, that the lads don't quite either get the chance or take the chance, don't quite shine enough. Like we've spoken about this over the past couple of years loads. John Bennison, he through sheer hard work has got into our first team squad and stayed there and ended the season as the left winger in the squad. That's how you get in sometimes. I remember having a conversation with someone when we were on about, and I'm mentioning James Roby here, I know, but we were on about Aaron Smith, and he said, well, he's got James Roby to get past. Well, James Roby had Kieran Cunningham. So what he did was he played himself into the 17 and made himself undroppable. Not everyone's going to hit that height. I get that. I completely get that. But you've got to make yourself better than that fella in front of you and worth that contract. It might be, again, that these lads are going out into the real world, go and getting themselves a job, going to go and play part-time, and that's how they go forward, and good luck to them.
Yeah, you do feel, unless you are like the peak player in the academy team and you're the leading light who's destined to be a star. If you are a fringe first teamer, you've pretty much got like a 12-month window to make that impact to stay. One or two may prosper from that, but unfortunately you can't keep everyone, because the way our academy churns stars out, it's next man up to replace you, isn't it?
And it's probably salary cap as well. Like the club's losing money. All Super League clubs are losing money. You can't just keep paying players wages for them not to be pretty much in with the sniff. So yeah, it's unfortunate that lads do move on, but time and time again it's happened, and time again we've brought somebody else through. If they make it, either way, whether they do or don't, the next player is going to be coming up pushing them, and it's just a conveyor belt that keeps happening. Sometimes you'll get good ones, sometimes you'll get not quite good enough ones.
Yeah. Lewis Dodd we've talked plenty about. Same with Tommy, but Sione Matautia, obviously off home, got serenaded with a hacker at the end of season awards, do I believe.
Yeah.
Um, going to be a big loss.
With Sione, he's one of those players that you think if you asked him to play pretty much anywhere in the team, he could. I think before his injury, he was possibly on course to be Player of the Year. I think he was almost head and shoulders above, but then his injuries kind of derailed that a bit. And I think trying to replace him is an impossible task. I think he's one of the best overseas signings we've had in Super League. Obviously, I'm not going to say the best, because you go to Jamie Lyon, people go to Ben Barber and the likes, but he's up there as one of the imports that we brought in and has made an absolute difference to our team. He's definitely up there.
Yeah. There's some not on that list: John Bennison, Ben Davis, Conrad Harrell. I think we're going to discuss them next week.
Yeah.
A bit more in depth. about what is going on there with their situations, whether anything comes out in the meantime officially or not, and we will see going forward. But at the moment, we have one more departure. Lauren Fresneau is leaving the club as expected, really, I think, from our side. That when it was announced that Lee Breeze was coming in, I think it was inevitable. But he looks really sad on that picture. It looks like he's been dumped at the bus stop and been told the bus isn't for an hour and it's about to rain.
It looks like someone wearing the same jumper as him has punched him in the face as well. Just looks like a really unnatural angle for his arm to be at. Yeah, Lauren goes, and Lauren has taken some grief on social media. I think it's fair to say. Mind you, at the game as well, speaking to people at the game, he gets some grief. And it'll be interesting with Lee Breeze coming in to see how we play next year, to see if there's a big change. And if it doesn't change, will the attacking coach get the same amount of blame as they have done over the past 12 to 18 months?
Can I ask the question that is probably the elephant in the room?
Go for it.
Does Lauren Fresneau become the whipping boy and the target for the blame because of his role or because he is French and there's a little bit of xenophobia there?
Um, that's a tough one to answer. That's a tough one to answer, and that's for the individuals who are giving him the grief to
Because
look deep down.
quite frankly, and I'll say this quite openly, some of the comments from elements of our fan base on any social media post from either the club or other sources where it's anything to do with the coaching staff, there are xenophobic comments. Full stop. That's factually referring to his nationality, disparaging. And do you know what? And I have to say, quite frankly, regardless of what you think of his coaching ability, some of the comments that I've seen over the last 12 months are quite disgusting. And
And
I think elements of
that's
the
a
fan base need to realise that there's people on the end of this.
yeah.
Players, coaches, staff, they all read these comments. You're not just because you're posting it on Facebook or a forum or Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, or Instagram, and you feel that it's not seen, it is. And I don't think there's any place for it. I really feel sorry for the bloke a little bit for them comments. If you listen, if you want to talk about anybody's coaching ability, that's fine, but leave out the xenophobic element to it. And do you know what? I'll put my flag on that hill, stand on it.
That's fair. Yeah, I think it's a fair enough point to make. Absolutely fair enough point to make. If you see them type of things, like people call him the Frenchie rather than just putting Lauren, it's not that difficult to write out, is it? I think the thing that I want to point out with regards to attacking is I don't think we've changed our attacking style in years.
And is
I
that
think,
part of the issue
yeah, I
that we've
think
been
so.
found out a little bit, or we
I think,
haven't quite got the players to execute?
yeah, I think that when Christian Wolf was here, there was a way that we played that we blow teams off the park, especially when you got to the hour point. Just be fitter than the others, bigger than the others, just more athletic than the others, have the skill set. And now we're playing with players who are that little bit older and probably need to change a bit. And I think you do start seeing bits of that because you look at that Warrington performance. If our players are back together 2 or 3 weeks before that Warrington game, then we're potentially, I'm not saying definitely, we're potentially looking at a different scenario, aren't we? Potentially looking at a home semi. You're potentially looking at we're more fluid. We you know what the bloke next to you is going to do. I know it's all potential, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, but you see little bits of this, and I will completely say that we didn't see that enough through the season. We didn't see enough of us doing what we needed to do. No matter who was on the field, there were mistakes, there were errors, and even in that Warrington game, look at Golden Point. We're giving away a penalty, then we're getting the ball back, and we're um, not halfback isn't kicking it, giving it to a centre. Centre puts it in straight into touch. That's just from Golden Point. You look at say losing it just before half time when Warrington goal score. You look at the pass that goes along the floor to no one, and Warrington goal score off it. There's too many of them instances. But attacking wise, there's little green shoots there, and I think that's because we need to move away from what we've done, what we were doing under Christian Wolf.
Yeah, and do you know what? I feel that's why bringing Lee Briers in is the right thing. I think you do need fresh eyes. You do need to change things up. And when you've seen the job that Lee Briers did when he went to Wigan to help transform their attack, which Wigan are now still benefiting from a couple of years down the line,
Yeah,
you've got to take that opportunity to bring him back to the club when the opportunity arises. And that's probably what has seen Lauren seen off in the end of the day. I think if Briers isn't available, Fresno probably stays. But
yeah,
as it is, that's what it is. And there was a comment on the forum this week saying when was saying like optimism for the future, bringing Lee Briers in, and people said when has there ever been this much attention put on a bringing an assistant coach in? And my response to that was actually, well, how much time has been spent this year discussing an assistant coach's role in the club more than
yeah,
ever? So it works.
yeah,
It works both ways. But for me, listen, has it quite worked out over the last couple of years? I don't think it's on Lauren. I think it's on the collective of the club,
yeah,
players and coaching staff. It is time to make a change, but Lauren will get to go home. Where do you know what? He's been over here 2 years away from his family. He's give us his commitment to the club, and I think we should all thank him for that and wish him well as he returns to France.
yeah. I get why he was brought over here as well as again the fresh eyes from outside the camp. As you say, as it worked, it's probably on everyone in the coaching department's heads that little bits of it haven't worked. Hopefully, we can simplify things. Hopefully, there's not too many different kind of voices giving advice. It's just left to the man in charge and his assistants to get on with it.
End of season awards, Kevin. Club Wellbeing Ambassador Moses and nominated by all his teammates. I think it was and the staff. I think it was the pastoral staff at the club, just for the influence he has on the team around him. And I think these are the things that you don't notice about Moses.
Yeah,
Obviously, you want to see it all on the field, but just to have that very senior professional with his experience of it, I know is greatly appreciated. Oh, yeah, club academic achiever, Johnny Lomax with his physiotherapy degree.
yes, very good.
Hope he's got his
Yeah,
HCPC registration and keeps it up to date over the next few years, so he's got his career ready to move into.
yeah. Why not? He's been doing some work experience at Wiston as well. So it's what players have got to look at, isn't it? Going into the when you are getting that bit older, what are you going to move into? Because the number of jobs in rugby league is very small compared to the rest of the world, isn't it?
It is. He's not on the register yet, but he needs to get himself sorted. Chris Mategi, I think I've pronounced that right. Under 16s Player of the Year.
I
Kev,
thought it
he's bigger than you, but is his muscle.
right. Chris, I think it's Matagi. You say Matagi, I say Matagi. Let's tell the whole thing off. He is massive. He's bigger than Christmas. Under
Oh, that was my
16 player of
line. That was my line I was coming with next.
the year. Under 16's player of the year. He walked onto the stage, and I think everybody just looked at him and thought, if he keeps going, he's going to be a first team regular, isn't he? Because he's huge.
Yes. His dad, former cast player, so there's a little bit of pedigree in the professional rugby league ranks. George Whitby, under 18s player of the year. Alfie Sinclair, the reserves. George Delaney backed up his last season's award with the Young Player of the Season award again this year. Matty Lees won 3 of them. Members,
Yeah.
players, player, and player, fully deserved. Um, Chairman's Award to Tommy Makinson, just because we needed to give Tommy an award because he's been fantastic for 14 years. Um, we couldn't let Sione go without standing on stage, so we gave him the This Is Saints Award. And
And
Tommy
this is
Makinson got try of the season purely because it was against Wigan, because it just wasn't.
no, it wasn't. John Bennison should have won that for the Huddersfield one. Yeah, this is Saints Award. That is someone who does the 1%, the extra little bit. And the video they put up of Sione doing that was a lovely montage. You could possibly argue that, you know what, Matty Lees does that week in, week out. Darren Clark does it week in, week out, etc., etc. But Sione goes away deserving of something.
I'd they give
And
Wonga the 1% award? Because only 1 in 100 would throw a pass forward from a penalty.
you've gone
They wouldn't even do that.
you've gone over your minute talking about it. But yeah, going on to the big winner of the night, Matty Lees, well deserved. Got player of the season off the members. I voted for Matty in that one. His peers in the team voted for him, and then the coaching staff voted for him. And there was one quote that I saw online which I loved, and that is one of the best abilities is availability, and that's exactly what he was available all the way throughout the season. And he led our pack. Listen, you could see towards the end, he looked like he was getting weary with all the minutes he's put in. Hopefully, he can go and put his feet up for a couple of weeks and rest up, especially once England's done anyway.
George has been nominated for Super League Young Player of the Season. And as he said himself on the stage, he was pulled up in the street and said, well done being nominated, but you're not going to win it because Julian and Sember from Wigan is. And fair enough, that's probably true.
It probably is. But again, another great accolade for George being nominated for it. Yeah, I think once you saw that list, everybody thought, yeah, and Sember will win that one. But being in that conversation again, good on him.
We've discussed George, haven't we? I've been, I don't want to say disappointed, but after how he went last season, here's one. So has he progressed, or has he suffered through having to play massive minutes? And as you said at the start of the season, we needed to manage it so we don't burn the young lad out. And has he suffered because he's had to play that change of role in terms of, instead of being the mobile prop off the bench all the time, he's been having to front up and start games, which, to be fair, he's done fantastically. And now I've said all that, I feel I'm being harsh, but I don't know. Another big
Yeah,
year for him next year because we want him to kick on and be the player we know he's going to be.
I think when you balance it against a player that you don't know too much about, and he comes through and he's eye captured and everything, and then he kind of settles into the team, and you don't really notice him every week. You don't see him, but I'll go out to. I don't think George will win the award. I think it will be December, but I'll go out to bat for George on why he's been nominated. A 20-year-old playing one of the most physically demanding positions that a 20-year-old can play against usually seasoned professionals who know how to handle themselves. In the regular season, he started 9 of his 23 games, so he's played 23 games this season for Saints. He's not been able to have that kind of development where he's been rested. Like Wello tried to do the Leeds game, then he ends up having to be on the bench and having to play. He has made an average gain this year in the regular season more than Matty Lees and Iggy Parsi, and less than 0.3 metres shy of what Alex Walmsley did. So it's either a balance of, has the pack as a unit not been brilliant, or George is a 20-year-old who's finding his way as that mobile prop who's usually coming off the bench. And listen, he's some of the games that he's had, he haven't been at his best. And I think that is through the tightness of a young lad finding his way in the front row. But I think it's, I know you said you don't want to say disappointed, but I think when you go down kind of to the brass tacks of what he's done and where he's playing and how often he's playing and the role that he's had to do for the team, again, he's up there with Matty Lees for me this season, where he has been available and gone out and done as good a job as he could possibly have done. So I'll go out batting for George. That I don't necessarily think, and this is from our conversation on Wednesday, that I've gone away and thought about what George has done for us this season, and just think, you know what, he's not had a bad season as I probably would have recalled and thought. No, not bad season, that's the wrong word. As impressive a season as his first. Everything he's done for us, I think, for a 20-year-old, deserves plaudits.
Yeah, and listen, I'm quite happy to say halfway through talking about him, then I'm changing my own mind. I think some of it is a case of over analysing. I'm basing it on results, which everybody's guilty of.
And it's probably something that you think, oh, he's not breaking through the line there. He's not, and he looked better in the Castleford game because it's something you said. He turns his back quite a bit, which might open him up for the offload. And I think some forwards do it. But in the Castleford game, he's finding his front, and I know it's only against a poor cast team, but he's finding his front, quick play of the ball, being able to get through, being able to make meters, and that was probably his best performance of the season. So it's that balance of him learning what he's doing, learning how his body copes, learning what he should be doing against certain players, what he shouldn't be doing. He's still a young man. He's still a young man, and yeah, as I say, I'll go out to bat for him on that one.
Yeah, still the future of our pack.
Correct. Yes, the firm.
Yes, the firm. Squad news for the women's grand final on Sunday afternoon at the Totally Wicked Stadium. It's a 4:30 kickoff against York Valkyrie. The picture on the squad news, if I'm not mistaken, that is Paige Travis, drawn by Indy Ray Quinn, age 8. She has even included the dragon ponytail. I'm looking forward to seeing all the rest of the pictures that the kids have produced to go with the squad. I know when Huddersfield have done it in the past, there's been some really good ones. Yes, there you go. The squad.
Indy Ray Quinn at age 8 is already a better draw than I am. Genuinely, already a better draw.
Actually, yeah. I have sent one in as David Lyon, age 30 and a half. I don't think I'm going to get near. I don't think it's limited to an age. They just said children. We are all children of someone.
Yes, very, very true. But yeah, that's a great
drawing.
Yeah, great drawing. I wish I was as good at that. Anyway, just one change. Rebecca Rotherham drops out and Lucy McCollum comes into the squad.
Pretty much as strong as you're going to get for Matty Smith to select from. We've only lost once in 2024. It was actually the opening game against York 2016. York will be hoping to bookmark or bookend the season. Is that the bookend the season? Winning the first and winning the last, and that's what they need to do. But they're going to find it tough in front of what should hopefully be a partisan home crowd, given it's on home soil.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I'm sure that York will have a fair number of fans coming over though, and cheering the team on. As we say, we keep dropping it in about the awards ceremony on Wednesday, and we're lucky enough to talk to Phoebe Hook after the awards ceremony. Asked her if she was looking forward to Sunday, which is a bit of a stupid question because of course she is. But it just got on to how she's feeling before it, and she said that the squad's confident but respectful of York, and knowing that York are a very, very good team. Obviously, they've already won one against Saints this year, but I kind of like what she was saying because it wasn't like we're being arrogant and yeah, you know what, we've won everything so far, so why can't we go out and win this? It sounded like they were doing the diligence against York. It sounded like they were going to give them the respect that they absolutely deserve, but that in their own abilities, they were confident. They're absolutely confident that they could go out there and do a job, and rightly so. You put yourself up in them positions, and you get the rewards that you deserve.
As much as the women would like to be going for the perfect season and going unbeaten, you almost think that loss early, well, first game of the year, would help ground them a little bit and know that, listen, we're not invincible. We can be beat on our day, so we have to perform.
Galvanizing is probably how I call it, rather than
Weird.
you going out there and like with that game, it seemed like Saints just didn't click at all. Just weren't great. And for their credit, York were and made sure that they were winning a game. It's probably something that you're revisiting the lead up to this. The fact that if you are off your game, then a team like York will punish you. And I'm sure that the women who are playing on Sunday are well aware of that. Don't need me to tell them that. But hopefully they've got that in the back of the mind. Hopefully it's not the right. All I've got to do is go out there and do this. Talk about 1%. Talk about that attitude of going out there and leaving everything out there. You've literally got. There's no more games this season. You get a rest from playing rugby, unless you're one who is like a dual coder. Like I think Pip Birchall's one of the dual coders who goes and plays. And she's played for Southport in the past. But you can have a rest from rugby league. You can put your feet up for a bit. Just leave everything out there on Sunday. Have no regrets when you're leaving that field.
Yes, best wishes to the women as they take the field on Sunday. I know we're going to be there cheering them on. Really looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah.
Who says we don't get to grand finals?
Hopefully, still be trophy town as well.
Yes. Well, we've already got a couple in the bag this year.
Well, yeah, true.
And memberships for 2025 are now on sale. It pretty much just got dropped out, didn't it? I'm wondering whether there could have been a little bit more of a campaign behind it. I know some have commented on social media. Listen, it is a case that they've had to go out on sale. And they go out on sale at the same time every year. It's just this year it just happens to be on the back of disappointment. And you can't let the results dictate the need for the club to generate the income and get the tickets sold for 2025, can you? There you go.
Yeah,
There's an
exactly.
advertising campaign, Kevin.
Yeah, the club needs to make revenue, and this is obviously a way to go out and get it. I've seen some people say it was absolutely pain free. How they just logged on and did it straight away, all done. Membership card loaded to the phone. You can go and get a physical card if you want one as well, which is what I'll be doing. I do like having them meaningless bits of plastic for years and years after.
Do you know what? So they've had these in the football for many years. Did the fully digital season tickets? I still pay for a physical card because if there's no signal at the ground or I lose battery on my phone, I want to still make sure I can get in.
Yeah,
Now I know you can still get a physical card from Saints. There's been no mention of a cost attached to it,
no,
but you have to request one if you want one.
yeah,
So I'm sure people will. And the other thing I just want to point out as well, if you are looking to pay for your season ticket via direct debit, that cannot be done down at the stadium. It has to be done online only this year. So save yourself a trip. If you're going to pay it over 12 months, 10 months, whatever the installment plan is, it's online only. In terms of prices, Kev, I think the prices have been held for the junior tickets. I I think West Stand and bronze renewals have gone up by a tenner, silvers by 20, gold by £30. Listen, rising costs are never good whenever they come. But given the climate that we're living in at this moment in time, um, making a 1.2 million loss it was this year, and rising costs in terms of electricity, energy costs, gas, which is also an energy cost. I saw that one well.
Um,
The club can't absorb all costs, can they? You've got to raise the money where you need to do it, especially if you're still expecting the club to spend salary cap.
yeah, exactly. Sorry, I am knackered here. You're not bored of me at all. I'm just tired. Yeah, the club has got to make money, and I understand that people might look at it at the minute and think, you know what, their prices are a bit rich for me. As you say, it's the climate we're living in, and I'm never going to knock someone for prioritizing being able to pay the bills over getting a same season ticket. It's all on your own circumstances. Hopefully, those who can afford one will get one, with the promise of Kyle Feldt, of Tristan Saylor, of Lewis Murphy. Bit of difference in the backs um, for next year. Hopefully, it will get people going out and buying the season tickets, and they're not too down on kind of what's happened this year, and they back the boys. But as I say, it's each individual's call. I'm not gonna have a go at people if they don't renew. I just hope that people do, because that's how you maintain a healthy club, by having fans in the stadium.
Yeah, listen, we would never call anyone for not renewing based on cost. I would say people who've said they're not renewing because we haven't played well this year. Well, do you know what? You take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah, I think yeah, fair
And,
enough.
and again, I'll refer back to having 35 years as an Everton season ticket holder. I've not even seen the smooth, so and you still turn up because do you know what? That's what you do if you're a supporter of the club. You back them through
Yeah.
thick and thin.
To be fair, when I was a Burnley season ticket holder, I saw the smooth, but that was mainly because we were getting promoted from the Championship rather than being at the top end of the Premier League.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. I think that's the end of the slideshow.
Excellent.
Oh well.
Well, another episode, Dan, and I'm sure we've got a couple still to come. We've promised, and this is where it will all go wrong, because I'm going to say this on while we're recording. We've promised to kind of keep going for a bit and maybe not quite have the big rest that we do.
We're never gonna stop.
Don't say.
I was singing the rest of them words.
No.
Before this show, Kevin, we've done 34 hours, 53 minutes, and 53 seconds of content this season. That's what we've uploaded. So we must have spent about 70 hours in total around it,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
So in
yeah.
2024, you have wasted 3 full days of your life doing this.
Worth it, innit?
Enjoy your weekend. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday at the Women's Grand Final. And hopefully we'll be celebrating a Saints win. And we'll try and do a bit of a reaction there, Kevin. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And while we're doing that, Kevin, do you know what I'm doing?
Going back on your holidays?
Going back on my holidays. Au revoir.